God bless America. Hello, everybody. Welcome back from the weekend. I hope you had a great one. I know I did. When we get to the end of this video, I hope you'll leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let's get into it. A lot of things happened over the weekend and this morning that I wanted to talk about. So rather than make, 5-minute videos, I decided to jam them all into one. So let's get into it first. Last week I did a video that I titled Trump's America and talked about how the economy is flourishing under our new president. Well, we have more evidence of that as the Dow Jones Industrial Average is set to hit 23,000 points. My prediction is in 2 weeks, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 weeks, assuming nothing catastrophic happens or nothing stupendously great for the economy happens. 2 weeks time, we will see the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit 23,000. Since November of last year, right before the election, the Dow Jones has been gaining approximately 300 points per month. This is about 10 points per day. This morning, the Dow Jones opened at 22,871. So that's where the prediction of 2 weeks till 23,000 comes from. I think it's worth noting that this span of a year from January to October last year, the market has been growing at double the rate. The rate of 300 points per month is twice as high as it was for the same span, January to October of 2016. Next on the agenda, Austria had their elections last weekend. The winners of those elections from first place to third place are roughly as follows: conservatism, socialism, and nationalism. So your net winnings by quote-unquote the right was 57 or thereabouts %, followed by socialism at 27%, first, second, and third place. In a twist, the leader of the Conservative People's Party is this kid named Kurtz, and as you can see, he's 31 and he's been called the Wonder Kid. I think it's interesting that the first millennial to really break into world politics is a conservative. I hope that this is a sign of things to come as the political class begins to age. Moving ever swiftly onward, the NRA spokeswoman Dana Lash has been forced to move from her previous residency after threats on her and her family's life. She used the Twitter hashtag #MeToo to wade into the fray of women using Twitter to talk about their sexual harassment or assault experiences after the Harvey Weinstein things coming out last week. And Chelsea Clinton has tweeted out in response to Dana Lash. But my question is for Hillary Clinton. Is Dana Lash a woman who has a right to be believed when it comes to these allegations? Now, speaking of Harvey Weinstein, I haven't made a video about him yet. I've been contemplating it. I almost did on Friday and changed my mind. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a video, hear my thoughts about the Weinstein incident. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to let others who are going to do more coverage than I am talk about that. Speaking of things that I don't think, or that I'm not prepared at this time to spend a lot of time talking about, angry Jets fans are convinced that the NFL is rigged for the Patriots after controversial Austin Safarian Jenkins fumble call. Now, there's a video in this YouTube, or in this story, which, again, can't play for you. Go and watch it and let me know what you think. It's only one angle that has been considered. I know that much. There are 2 or 3, perhaps 4 angles that the referees looked at before making their decision. As a person who has been in the orbit of football before, I think I know what the correct call should be, or you know how we are to think about this play. If you would like to hear my thoughts about that, again, that's another topic. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear me make some statements about that. I think I have a pretty good grasp on how this situation needed to be handled. In this story, they mentioned that in light of the anthem protests, calls like this could cause trouble for the NFL, but I don't think that's where this discussion is going to be headed, specifically around this play. Again, if you want an explanation on the play and how I think it should be handled, not as a referee, just as a person who's been in the orbit of football before, let me know in the comments. Our next story, Halloween is here, so of course it's time for social justice. We have this poster from nau.edu, Northern Arizona. It says, "We are a culture, not a costume, and this is not okay." Now, I disagree. I say that all cultures are costumes, and if these fellows want to dress up as white people for Halloween, why shouldn't they? If the Native American, Indian, I work in an industry that deals almost exclusively with Indians, and we call them Indians all the time. I'm calling him an Indian. If this Indian fellow wants to dress up as a Chinese person, and the Chinese woman wants to dress up as the Mexican person, and the Mexican fellow wants to dress up as an African person, I say go for it. We call it cultural appropriation. Appropriation is just a fancy word for appreciation, so why should you be upset if people not of your culture want to appreciate your culture a little bit? I'm not one that dresses up a lot for Halloween. I have done so on occasion, put in a little bit of work for a Halloween costume, but if someone's doing the research to find out what people from your culture wear, how is that a bad thing? Yeah, I refuse to see how that's a bad thing. On a social justice note, we have the Indian, Chinese, Mexican, and African person, but where is the Arab person, and where's the Vietnamese person? Unless you're saying that all Asian people are like this Chinese person, which I would find highly culturally insignificant, or insignificant, that was the wrong word, highly culturally insensitive. This black person pretending like this one costume is representative of all African people, I find that to be highly culturally insensitive. Where's the outrage over what the real issues are with this Halloween poster? Where's the real representation going on here? Moving on to actual issues. This reported in Fox News 3 days ago. An illegal alien is accused of murdering an 18-year-old student, and the illegal alien was in the DACA program. You read down here that this individual, Daniel DeJesus, last name, came to the U.S. illegally from Mexico and was protected by the DACA program. And I want you all to remember that it's the people, not people like this, but people of this age group, this man's age group, not, the 3, 4, and 5-year-old children. It's not those individuals who are being protected by DACA right now. It's able-bodied men and women that have the presence of mind to know that they're in the United States illegally, that get to seek out DACA protections. And unfortunately, this is kind of one of those one bad apple ruins the bunch thing. This instance, if it was reported by the media in any volume, would forever taint Americans' perception of the DACA program, because this is not a child, this is an adult that has carried out a crime while they were protected from deportation by the DACA program. This is not going to get nearly the coverage that it ought to. Last but not least, this was from the Wall Street Journal, so you get to read it from my email inbox. Lindsey Graham went on Deface the Nation yesterday and talked about the antidote to Steve Bannon. As I'm sure you're all aware, Steve Bannon has been waging campaigns against incumbent Republican candidates, specifically incumbent Republican candidates that have been working hard to stop the Trump administration. Individuals like Bob Corker, John McCain, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, to name a few, have been doing their level best to stop the Trump agenda. And this has given an individual like Steve Bannon a lot of popularity. As a person who wants to see Trump's agenda implemented, Bannon seeks to get Trump the Congress that will implement his agenda. And what Lindsey Graham says in this, that's quoted in this story, in the third paragraph here, the host teed up Mr. McConnell. I don't know and I don't care who the host of Deface the Nation is. But Mr. Graham elaborated, Mitch McConnell is not our problem. He's kind of the problem. He's the Senate Majority Leader. He's supposed to get the Senate Republicans, the Senate majority, behind their legislative proposals. So he's kind of the problem, but not so much as the rest of the Senate. Our problem is that we promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, and we failed. We promised to cut taxes, and we've yet to do it. If we're successful in repealing and replacing Obamacare and cutting taxes, Mitch McConnell is fine. If we're not, we're all in trouble. We'll lose our majority, and I think President Trump will not get reelected. I disagree with that last line, but he's got it right. And it's funny because repeal and replace Obamacare and cut taxes is also known as the 2/3 of the Trump agenda. Or if you consider draining the swamp an item of the Trump agenda, is 3/4. The biggest items of the Trump agenda are the wall, aka cracking down on immigration, which Trump has already begun to do with his administration. The Congress just has yet to follow up legislatively. Repeal and replace Obamacare, again, something that Trump has begun to take care of with his administration. Congress has yet to follow up legislatively. Cutting taxes, something that Trump really cannot do administratively. I suppose he could direct the IRS to be less strict in prosecuting people that are breaking tax law, but I wouldn't see that as a good idea. And number 4, draining the swamp, which Trump has begun to try to do administratively, but I think that he's focused more on those other 3 items, which is why I say that Lindsey Graham has basically stated if we would implement 2/3 of the Trump agenda, we would win re-election in 2018, and Trump would get reelected in 2020. I think that as long as the Congress remains as adversarial as it has been, Trump stands a decent chance of being reelected in 2020. If Trump manages to get a friendly Congress in 2018 and then fails to implement his agenda, then he's in trouble for 2020. But if as long as Trump can point to Congress and say, I'm doing everything I can, these guys aren't implementing my agenda, he's safe for 2020. And that's the situation that he's in right now. As long as Congress fails to implement Trump's agenda and not Trump, I think Trump is safe for 2020, which is where I disagree with Mr. Graham, rather, there in this key paragraph. I do think that it's ironic that a senator like Lindsey Graham recognizes that all it will take for Republicans to secure re-election in 2018 is implementing the Trump agenda. He won't say as much, but he says repeal and replace Obamacare, which is Trump agenda item number 2, or I guess number 3, and cut taxes, which is Trump agenda item number 2, with immigration being Trump agenda item number 1, which Lindsey Graham is not in favor of. He's saying as long as we implement 2 out of 3 Trump agenda items, we'll all be fine. But he won't say it in those words. He'll say it in these words, just not, in the supporting of Trump. And as you can see, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal agrees with Lindsey Graham. And they specifically as well call out John McCain, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski. I think they incorrectly call out Rand Paul. Rand Paul, I think I spend quite a bit of time defending Rand Paul on this channel, and it's really because I think I understand the guy. Rand Paul doesn't want to see a half-baked Obamacare repeal passed. He wants to see a good, solid Obamacare repeal happen. And if all the Senate does is bring in half-baked, not repeal Obamacare repeals to the floor, he's going to continue to vote against it because he doesn't want it to be something where Republicans pass a fake repeal and then say, it's done, let's forget about it and move on. If Rand Paul were to allow a half-baked repeal to pass, I don't think he could ever get Congress to go back to Obamacare to finish the job, which is why he's been one of the individuals that's voted against the not repeals. So that's going to do it for this video. Let me know how you guys liked this format. It's one that's a lot of other YouTubers similar to this channel rather, have used the kind of news rundown where we cover a lot of stories, not too terribly deeply in depth. I think I enjoyed it. I think I'm going to keep using it in the future, particularly on Mondays when there's several issues to talk about from the weekend. But I will not stop doing the singular issue deeper dives into the topics. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think on each of these issues in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed, why not leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss a single video. I'm uploading every weekday, and I haven't missed a weekday yet, even on that holiday that I took last week. So until next time, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Good night, and God bless.